I cured an incurable disease in my room alone. What cured me? Chemo-fucking-therapy. Anyone that tells you that they thought themselves better from an autoimmune disease is either very lucky and they just got better, or a fucking scam artist. And I could tell, I was like, oh my god, this is it. This is a remission. I'm in full remission. No PEM. Hello everyone. I'm Lesbian Hot Sauce. I'm a variety political and gaming and silliness streamer. I think Biden's quitting. Fuck capitalism and fuck the patriarchy, right? Bitch.
A mighty princess forged in the...
Fuck you, Labour. Fuck you. Big up Jezza. Why is the alien so sexy? This is a story of how I treated long COVID, MECFS, in my room. This is like full-blown sci-fi DIY, like someone self-experimented on themselves in their room. This is a story that's going to make you laugh, cry, consider the law, which I had to as well. Everything I did was legal though. So get yourself a cup of tea, settle in, strap in, strap on, strap in. Grab a cuppa. Yeah, this is going to be a wild ride. Let me go from the start, talk you through the entire story, and how I got to a point where I could climb mountains again, and suffer no issues from it. In November 2022, I got COVID. I was DJing. And I just come back to the UK from working international development. I would work overseas. I was working in Thailand and Myanmar at the time. And I came back for a new job, and I went up to Sheffield to see some old friends and DJ and stuff. It was the end of COVID, right? So I was going to go see loads of people. Anyway, I got COVID. I had like a week in bed, you know, like fucked up, cold, flu, blah. Blowing my nose, being sick, and then I had like, and this is key, I had like 3 days of feeling a bit better and not having any long COVID issues. Then I started feeling very unwell and very dizzy, and I had brain fog. So I did what I always did at the time when I felt a bit off, which is I went for a run. And then I was hit with something which a lot of you who have long COVID will know quite well. Post-exertional malaise. 24 hours. And this happened right up until I've reached remission recently. Every time I did too much, 24 hours after, I would essentially have something like a crushing fatigue where it's not, oh, I felt a bit tired. I could not walk. I couldn't move. I was not just bedridden. It felt like my nervous system was like turning in on itself, which it kind of was. My immune system was attacking my nervous system. I had fucking ended up in hospital. I went for a run, 24 hours, stood up, collapsed. The next bit's a bit of a blur. I was in hospital. I had loads of blood tests. I couldn't walk. Dad came and like fucking carried me like a baby in his arms. And took me home to rural Lincolnshire, where I stayed for 2 years. At the time, we thought it was, you know, I'll be all right in a couple of, you know, Lord, we didn't know what the fuck long COVID was. We didn't know what MECFS was. I guess you don't think it's ever going to happen to you. You don't think my entire life is about to collapse in on itself. I got the full, debilitating, extreme brain fog, PEM, extreme fatigue of MECFS. I had POTS, so I stood up, my heart rate went fucking mental, like, you know, from like 60 beats per minute to 150, and all I was doing was standing up. I had extreme fatigue, brain fog that manifested as short-term memory loss. That's what it was, like short-term memory loss all the time. Bam, 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 couldn't think of anything. My memory was fucked. And that existed up until I got into remission, really. It got better and worse with PEM. So if I did too much the day after, my brain would be like totally scrambled egg. And I survived at work in part by massively pacing myself, going to part-time, and my work supported me, and I worked from bed. And some people at work helped me out as well, to be honest. So yeah, went to conventional doctors in the NHS, did nothing. They told me I was crazy, basically. So I did therapy to stop thinking that I was sick. Yeah, that didn't fucking work. That's a lie. That's bullshit, right? That's absolute fucking bullshit. And anyone that tells you that they thought themselves better from an autoimmune disease is either very lucky and they just got better, or a fucking scam artist who deserve 0 penny at fucking gulag jail for all of you bastards. I'm not even joking. These people need to be stopped. They're a danger to science and they're a danger to medicine. Anybody that's telling you that is a fucking liar. What cured me? Chemo fucking therapy. Yeah, at one point I was fucking swimming in supplements. You guys know what it's like if you've got ME/CFS. Fucking B vitamins, fucking D vitamins, blah blah blah. Did nothing, fucking nothing. Did stellate ganglion block, did absolutely nothing. Antivirals, herpes antivirals, COVID antivirals, did absolutely nothing. The oxygen shit, did absolutely nothing. Yeah, all this shit did was drain my wallet and my patience, right? The only thing that worked was something called rapamycin, like properly worked, which is a drug that's given to people who have organ transplants. And it sent me down a process of awakening for science. Now, I did politics, philosophy, and international development, right? That's my area of work. That's what I've studied. Did stuff like philosophy of science, but I don't know what the fuck I'm on about, right? I'm just your average country bumpkin when it comes to that kind of shit, right? I started really reading the science. The science awakened in my brain, and I was like, right, I've got to find a way to cut through this bullshit. All this, like, here is a B6 vitamin and it made me better. Sponsored by all B vitamins ever or something. You know, all that bullshit. There's a dime and a dozen of them, right? So what I did is I focused just on studies that I thought were good insofar that the data matched their analysis. Doesn't always happen, believe it or not, when you read stuff, and were not didn't come from private corporations, but came from like public purse stuff. And that led me to a bunch of researchers in Norway and Germany. These guys were oncologists. They published some papers and they were like, we think it's autoimmune-ish. And it's to do with immunoglobulins. And I got further into trying to understand the science. I used critical reasoning and I used every tool that I had around me and to read all these papers, and it made fucking sense because they were one of the few people that were able to actually treat people. And basically every symptom could be explained by it. Post-exertional malaise, issues with the blood, issues with mitochondria, everything. There was explanatory power in every part of their science. And they were just finding more and more evidence of it. And I was just linking the dots, basically. We knew some people in some trials that had failed, who had definitely had the drug, not placebo, and were in remission. And I was like, there's something to this. And then I looked at other autoimmune diseases like Sjogren's syndrome and stuff. And it was the same. Because there was this idea, yeah, but you can treat autoimmunity. If I were you, mate, I'd look at the research. It's really hard to treat. I think that's why people don't want to accept that a big cohort in long COVID, not everyone, there's a couple of different diseases, I think that's obvious. There's a big cohort that will only get better if you are chucking a bunch of shit at their B cells and their immunoglobulins. People might be like, rituximab, that failed. Yeah, I know. It targets the wrong cells. It's failed in Sjogren's syndrome. It's failed in a bunch of other autoimmune syndromes. I've spoken to the researcher who led on the trials for lupus and RA, and his entire point is he thought this would be a better way of trying to approach autoimmune diseases without attacking immunoglobulins. This disease is driven by immunoglobulins in my POV, and not just my POV. I did shit tons of blood tests throughout chemo. Everything fluctuated apart from immunoglobulins. Immunoglobulins decreased, I got better. Yeah, people don't like hearing this, but if you don't treat autoimmune diseases, you won't recover. You will not get better. You won't think yourself better. You won't supplement yourself better. You won't get different shots that will make yourself better. You will be sick and you will stay sick. And that's why so many people have stayed sick on ME/CFS, because they're not getting fucking treatment from doctors, which is disgusting and abhorrent. And big up the fucking doctors in Norway and Germany who are trying. They're on the right side of history. Don't give up. I'm in full remission. No PEM. I haven't spent a day in bed since I can remember now. I'm traipsing and roaming the hills. I'm fucking working out again. Seeing my friends. I'm spending a lot of time with my family. So, armed with logic, desperation, and a bit of a reading about the law in the UK, about what I could and couldn't do, I treated myself. I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I did the Chemo Chronicles. I, from a job a while ago, have a training in IV cannulation, so I can safely treat myself. I was trained by a doctor. I did the Norwegian protocol. I did chemo I did it over 5 months instead of 6. So I did 5 doses and I did a bit more. They did like 750 milligrams per square meter and I did 800. I lost all my hair, which is why we're experimenting with a little bit of hair now, you know. I've fucking vomited and like shit myself. Like, anyone that goes through chemo knows how hard this is. It wasn't easy at all. On the 4th dose, I woke up one day and was like, and I could feel it. It was literally like this, like I was having an exorcism of the immune system. My nervous system went fucking nuts. Like I said, I have POTS, right? And my nervous system was just like, what's going on? Oh my God. And I could tell, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is a remission. And I went out for a run, and the day after I didn't have PEM. And I sat and I cried like a fucking baby. I cried like someone had given me a second chance at life, because I knew that that was it. Now, it took me quite a while to recover from chemo, to get my hair back, to psychologically recover from chemo. My mum and dad were like with me all the way through being sick. All of my family was actually. My uncle's been really cool. Extended family have been cool. They've listened, they've learned. I relied on all of this shit, right? My family, on my friends, on my Twitch community, on work, friends at work, and it was a lot. It was a lot. I had to rely on them because by the end of chemo, couldn't handle it anymore. I knew I was in remission, and I was like, I cannot take this anymore. I cannot handle being sick. My hair was like coming out in clumps, so I shaved it off. I couldn't handle it. I could not fucking handle it. Oh my God, chemo is awful. But it was worth it because I got my life back. What am I going to do with it? Well, the recovery has been a bit slower than I like, I think. I have POTS still, which just in manifesting There's two things. Increased heart rate sometimes if I am doing something that shouldn't have my heart up that much. But I can run now, which is good because I can get my heart rate a bit more stable. And feeling a little bit more tired, no fatigue, tired than I think your average person. But that still could be, it's been 3-4 months since I finished chemo. It still could be residual effects. Look, I'm not saying everyone should start jabbing themselves with chemo drugs, and I can only hope that some of the Norwegian and German trials do pass. But if they don't, I ain't saying stab yourself with chemo drugs, that would be fucking insane. Only a mad bitch would do that. But if you can find someone who will treat you internationally on this basis, do it. You deserve it. You deserve your health back. Science, publicly funded research saved me, and I saved myself with the support of my family and my friends and my community when no one else would, no one else did. And if you were a doctor and you're outraged by this, read the research, learn it's autoimmune, and be angry that a patient had to treat themselves with chemo alone in her fucking room. Right? That's what you should be angry at. Instead of being treated by a doctor, having access to immunoglobulin depleting medicines, right? Without having to resort to chemo. Because that's what happened. That's the truth. Right? As you can probably tell, I'm much better, much happier now. Well, I'm so glad I hugged up here for all this view. It's so beautiful. Wow. Wow. Breathtaking.